más eres uno, eres one.
Happy holidays! I've got a gift for you. Buy 4 tarot readings or coaching session gift codes in any combination, and you'll receive 2 additional gift codes too. So use all 6 codes for yourself or share them with friends and family as holiday gifts, stocking stuffers, or maybe even birthday presents. These don't expire, so you can feel free to use them and share them throughout the year. Merry Christmas, and thank you so much for being my friends. Hi there, Cancer. This is your weekly reading for the week of January 4th through 10th. Happy New Year to you. I hope that you had a wonderful Christmas, a very, very lovely New Year's, and that your week is off to the right start. Don't fret. I know you saw the Tower. Let's just talk about it. On Monday, the card you've drawn is the Tower, and this card obviously gives us the idea that something has become so unstable that it is going to come down. Now, that doesn't mean that people have to get, maimed or killed in the process. It just means that obviously there is a situation that needs to be discussed, if not settled this week, so that it's all out on the table and doesn't become kind of the pile of debris swept under the rug, proverbially speaking, that any of us could trip on. So as long as everything is brought up and communicated in a way that doesn't have to be over emotional, everything is going to be fine. Now on Monday, the 4th, we've got the moon in Scorpio, and we've got this pre-Mercury retrograde shadow very intensified. So I don't know if I would suggest having this discussion, whatever it is that's on your mind, which could very likely be relationships, committed partnerships, and or work situations and the daily routines associated with them, because there's so much activity and we start the year off with so much happening in Earth. And so in this sense, I think we should wait until we get the gist of what this is going to feel like, which is hinted to us by Mercury's 1-degree step into Aquarius, which is your solar 8th house of joint assets, community assets, transformation, transmutation, transcendence, death, sex, taxes, not necessarily in that order, but so significantly, so much about the 8th house, depending on the activity of the 7th, is where we get the hint that there is something about relationship, and even if it happening, and even if you don't have a relationship presently, where you might feel that if the emphasis isn't there on wanting such a thing, then of course it could be your roommate, somebody partnered with you. There's a lot of ways that this could be interpreted, but I think most of the energy is going to be drawn over here to the 7th house, possibly the 6th, and whatever it is that's going on at work that might have to do with your daily activities and what's going on in that 8th house. So remember, the Tower doesn't have to mean that people get hurt in the process, but we definitely need to either get the work going to make reparations or to make a decision as to what we're going to do with this relationship or situation. On Tuesday, the card you've drawn is the 2 of Pentacles in reverse, and this is an indication where, again, something like an 8th house matter, in my opinion. It could be the idea of sharing. It could be the idea of who you're supporting and or enabling. I doubt that it's a vice versa situation, because I think that this is happening in a seventh house reality, which is more like other people, other situations beyond your control, and what is brought in by the factor of other. Now, on Tuesday is the day that Mercury stations retrograde. Here's our one step into Aquarius, your solar eighth house. And then, of course, at that moment, it will square Mars in Scorpio, your solar fifth house of romance, creativity, children. And this could be where an inkling of what is going to be discussed once, twice, possibly three times could come up, most especially for those of you who are in romantic but not committed long-term relationships. That would be more appropriate for the seventh house. So there could be some difference here in the way that your romantic relationship or your relationship with your child or children in your care is being expressed. Also, Mercury will officially go retrograde on this day, and Venus in Sagittarius, your solar sixth house of work, your health, your daily activities, your habits, the work that you do daily, anything that becomes somewhat routine or is part of the routine, is the sixth house, and it's squaring Neptune in Pisces, your solar ninth house of long distance people, long distance goals, long range, long-term goals. This could also be related to philosophies that you're developing or have developed, spirituality, religion. This could be legal matters. This could be where we see a square here talking to us about, again, something having to do with your job may have hit a spot where you're not going forward, or you feel like it's just not working out, or you're told that this isn't working out somehow, where this long-term goal that you'd like to have peacefully kind of, just going forward and evolving as your skills do, and appreciation from your employer, if that's applicable, does. There's something here that's maybe not going according to plan, and it could very much be like the Two of Pentacles reverse, where we're trying to keep things going, and maybe we do feel like we've got too many expectations, whether we've put them on ourselves. And Cancer, you're pretty good at this, over obligating yourself to do the best you can, being in service to other people. But once that happens, and once you've agreed to it, you will tend to kind of grumble to yourself and acknowledge to yourself that you don't like what's happening here. And that could be what's going on, that you feel like you're quite put upon, and now you're having a hard time managing work, and you're feeling perhaps that you're not being rewarded adequately. The sun in Sagittarius is also going to conjunct Pluto in Capricorn. Again, Sagittarius is your solar house of your habits, your routines, your health, and then of course your seventh house, Capricorn. Pluto there is conjunct, and so it's really bringing about, almost bringing it to a climax, a critical mass, where something about what your routines are in this job every day may not be working for somebody that you're in relationship with. Now, if it's a romantic relationship, this could be that they're like, dude, you just work too many hours, and I was kind of hoping for this or this. Also, this conjunction with the sun here and Pluto could be that some secrets come to light, and they could be about you, something that you didn't want your partner to know, relationship partner, and it could even be a business partner as well, you see, where maybe it's a romantic partner, maybe it's a business partner, maybe they didn't want you to know something, and maybe they have said, maybe you found out from somebody else that they are not going to give people health care. And you are like, I have been doing this for 3 years with the promise of healthcare, boom. And then you get this information and the truth has come to light, and Pluto is asking you to transform it. Basically, Pluto and the sun are saying, so this is what it is. What are you going to do about it? Now, if this is a relationship, the same thing. Maybe you find something out about a partner. This would be a very committed relationship. You find something about them, or they find something out about you that one or the other didn't want that other person to know about. Well, again, this is where the universe says, okay, so what are you going to do about it? I wouldn't implement any knee-jerk reaction types of adjustments or changes, because the moon goes void, of course, and then it will enter Sagittarius, making that sixth house of the work and or your routines that might revolve around this partner person much more illuminated. Okay, so I would just kind of think on it, because even if you decide in a romantic relationship, I don't want this, that's it, or they say, I'm done, we can't be together, during a Mercury retrograde, it is very likely that people don't stay broken up. Trust me, I would know. They tend to get back together, and whether or not it's round 2, 3, 4, and we're waiting for at least a technical knockout, it's just not going to stay broken up. Of course, we do have other astrological information that could really lead to, with this Pluto, a good and defined ending. Okay, for those of you that really need it or want it, I think for the best of everybody involved, a good clear ending is better than a jagged tear. Always reminds me of episiotomies, right? Like the first time I panicked when I had my first child. I know this is kind of too much information, but this is really how I see it, where I freaked because I did not want an episiotomy, and I'm freaking out because I'm in pain and everything else is going on. And then this nurse comes and tells me to my face and says, he's going to cut you before you tear. And they explained to me later why, and I finally realized, and that's what I'm saying here. This would be Pluto is encouraging a nice clean cut, but sometimes in volatile relationships or situations that become emotionally charged, it becomes much more of a rip than a good incision. And so I hope for you that this becomes a nice clear cut kind of ending, if that's what needs to take place. On Wednesday, we have the Six of Cups, and this could find you thinking about someone from the past. It could be a relationship. It could be a former situation that you're thinking of. And the funny thing about these kinds of aspects is they do kind of speak of, again, that volatile relationship, which could come back up to the fore. And it could just be, hopefully, right, that you're dreaming about this person, that you're thinking about them again, and maybe you're being hard on yourself right now because you're thinking about that past relationship that was better, or what you really wanted, and that you realize some things that you could have done differently. And think about it as long as it takes you to mull it over, chew it well, swallow it, and let the process of digestion and elimination begin again. This is just something that could be stimulated by the way that the Six of Cups indicates, okay, that you're thinking about it in a more positive light. But remember, sometimes when we're not happy with current relationships, we have a tendency to look back at a prior relationship that was probably volatile under these aspects, and we see them in a more rosy glow kind of light. Try to develop a little bit thicker skin, or, use me as an example. I just decide no and no, and that's it. I feel nothing. And now that doesn't mean that I didn't go through my process of chewing, digesting, and eliminating, but sometimes we have to kind of pop it back up there like so much cud in a cow's other stomach. I know that's gross, but you know me, and that's what we have to do, is just process it one more time to just let it go. Thursday, we have the Ace of Pentacles reverse here, and this could indicate that it's not obviously time to initiate any great big brand new bold financial projects or commitments that otherwise have a tangible material or financial or resource commitment. This is just not the time. Sun in Sagittarius at this point, again, your solar 6th house is squaring Uranus in Aries, your solar 10th house of career. Not the time to start a new job. Now, I am going to say that for those of you that are unemployed and really need a job, any job is good and any time. It could indicate, though, that the terms of the agreement or the scope of the job or the job description, job duties are not going to be what you expected. But if you need a job, you just need one. Just go ahead and take it. There's no sense in starving if you don't have reserves, and God forbid that you have little kids. You got to just do what you got to do. Now, if you do have a good padding underneath you and you don't need to take a job in a hurry, well, then don't. I would much rather see people wait until way after the end of January, and where very significant, especially if you have to move, to take a job, wait until the middle of February. But with that said, I do also have to remind you that if it's a job that you have done, that you worked with these people before, same job, same people, that kind of thing, then it carries a little less risk, though we have to bear in mind what the other aspects are doing. So the objects and planets and luminaries speak their language, which of course I can't see what's going on in your natal horoscope because I don't have it. So considering this, remember also that Jupiter goes retrograde here in this day in Virgo, your solar third house of communications. So it's a good time not to be discussing anything, hoping for a commitment, a solution. I still don't see that this is really a great time to sort things out, although I personally believe that when situations come up and organically present, where the opportunity is there, like say your wife or girlfriend or husband or boyfriend sits down next to you and says, we got to talk. Well, right there, you're not going to say, well, my astrologer, Rita, that I've never met, is telling me no. Sometimes they come up organically and we just have to work with them there. Mercury is retrograde and it is intensified on this day. So again, it really isn't my favorite thing to say, especially if it is a romantic relationship discussion or an important business relationship discussion. I would try to not answer the phone and then get back at a time that's more appropriate. But then again, we can't always, with that Sun-Pluto conjunction, sometimes there's no choice, right? We also have the moon going void, of course, here at 6:44 p.m. Pacific time. And then Jupiter also goes direct. We have to keep that in mind. Friday, the card you've drawn is the Seven of Wands in reverse. And the Seven of Wands in reverse is really maybe feeling like you just can't get ahead. Or you're like, I take 2 steps forward and then I have to take 4 back. And it could really be just illusionary. It could be that it really isn't as bad as you think and it just feels that way. I really would try to remind myself that every day is a gift and that it's meant to be lived and experienced. And maybe you could be more like me and call it a freaking adventure, because my days are always adventures no matter what I do. So here on Friday, we are reminded that we are in a more intense Mercury retrograde phase at this stage. The sun in Capricorn will sextile Chiron in Pisces. So again, that solar 7th house being activated. Chiron in Pisces is maybe giving you an ability to see things from another person's point of view, an opportunity to try to make concessions where it is fair, and the opportunity is fair concessions with each other to help get past whatever this is, whether it is with an employer or in a personal relationship. We have that energy available for you. Venus in Sagittarius, again, your solar 6th house of work and health and daily activities, your routines, is conjunct Saturn in Sagittarius. And so we have Venus, I believe, helping us, if we pay attention to the details, helping us sort out some of these 6th house matters. I know you're thinking, Rita, Venus makes it what? Bigger. Well, yes, sometimes it can do that with something like Saturn. Even though you might want to find a way around it, Saturn can illuminate more fully with Venus present what it is that needs to be corrected, where literally Venus is saying, well, I think that we can just sweeten the pot by doing it like this. And Saturn says, just roll up your sleeves, put your hands in the toilet and unclog that thing. You're like, no. Mercury enters Capricorn here for the retrograde phase, 29 degrees at 11:36 a.m. Pacific time, and the moon will move into Capricorn at 7:07 a.m. for those of you planning any discussions on Friday. Saturday, we have the Magician card, which is fantastic for you. It's giving you the ability to use your talents, your gifts, your skills to turn any situation around. Now, even if, let's just say it's the relationship that it's like, gosh, I can't get through this person, and you're not realizing that it probably isn't an appropriate relationship. Maybe you got together for the wrong reasons. It could be somebody else is trying to show it to you, or the universe is trying to say, hey, look, this is just a chemistry. This is not really a soul connection. this at least can help you understand. The Magician here can help transform that whole energy pattern of, I don't want to have to transform this into a friendship. I don't want to have to shake hands. And the Magician says, but it's still good. If you're meant to be with this person, they will come back into your life one day. Don't live your life waiting for it. Just live your life moving forward. But the Magician will help you do this if you just listen to Saturn's promptings. Also, we have to keep in mind that we have a new moon. I believe that's there. Let me look and see what I just said. I have another note. Okay, so the new moon here is in Capricorn, 5:31 p.m. Pacific. On Sunday, we have the King of Pentacles, so there could be a situation on your mind, or you could be the one who is in control of some financial decisions. And with that said, you could really have to make a decision about, boy, it could be the relationship, it could be the job, it could be the money in the bank. What do I do? Sometimes, Cancer, you might feel like you have to hang on to every penny, and maybe you're not feeling as generous as usual because you're kind of concerned about your bottom line, which I don't blame you. If you're feeling insecure about your job, especially, that would make sense. We also have, let's see, the moon going void, of course. I think we already talked about the moon going into, oh no, we didn't, because the moon would go void, of course, at 9:39 a.m. Pacific time on Sunday. Then it will enter Aquarius at 12:23 p.m. Pacific time, making it possibly a little easier at the end of the week to have those discussions with your partner or your significant other. And it could be your roommate, it could be your significant other person. Like, when I say roommate, it doesn't have to be romantic. It could be somebody that just somehow your finances and resources are conjoined to, because most business isn't happening on Sundays, but where you live, it might already be Monday at this point. So just keep in mind that if you're going to have those personal discussions, it might be easier to come across more transparent and even more stable, because of course the King of Pentacles is the earth element, and so since your seventh house is, you could come across with a more practical approach to how to make things better. Again, if a romantic situation isn't working out, try not to really sit and stew on this, because you probably will have a round two with this person if you so choose. And as long as it doesn't result in a fist fight, it's all good, Cancer. Take good care. God bless you, and I'll be talking to you soon.